So I'm glad you brought up Millennial Mike because first I'm super excited about him reaching milestones and hitting, hit the $1 million net worth and this financial freedom. He's right on the cusp of that. And so the biggest decision I think he's got left is what is financial freedom, right? What type of life does he want to live once he's not working in law enforcement? So that'll kind of determine when that happens. But Casey from Brick by Brick Wealth and me talked about this while you were gone. Is Millennial Mike started making his videos right years ago, right? Started before he invested. He said, look, I don't have anything right now. I'm going to show you the timeline of investing. Yep. So Casey and I were talking about if we started investing now, and this is where I think the problem with a lot of people thinking that their job is a prison and they want to escape it is, you get the question too, right? How do I start now and be able to quit my job in 6 months or a year or maybe 2 years, right? And so if we look at the timeline, Casey and I, when we decided, okay, I'm going to start focusing on finances now, for her, it was 18 months. For me, it was 2 years to make one transaction. So if you're starting today, that means 2024, 2025, or right around the beginning of 2026, you take your first actionable step on investing. But in those 2 years, you mentioned this with Millennial Mike too, this is when you're working on your credit score. This is when you're working on increasing your income and decreasing your expenses, like all of those things that you could be doing along the way. Yeah. But have people thought that the first transaction, if you started now today, could be 2 years from now? Because if this is not, all right, I've saved up hundreds of thousands of dollars, how do I deploy it? Like that's the person who started saving years ago. But the person who today is thinking, okay, what is my savings rate and how can I increase that? Let me start saving now. Let me figure out what is my credit score and how do I increase that? That's a 2-year starting point.
I agree. I totally agree. That conversation with Millennial Mike really crystallized. I'm going to call it a step zero because again, some people can skip it based on where they're coming. But I really do think we have to create a I don't know, step zero checklist. What are the 5 things you've got to know or do or work on? Because you're right. I think there's a lot more people like Casey and yourself who want it, who are doing the work, and that transaction is 18 to 24 months out. But we have to celebrate the journey and celebrate the check marks. Then there are some people that come into this like myself who had 40 grand. It's like, okay, I've got the other things. Let's go. Let's, get the buy box, all this stuff. So definitely was self-biased when I created the 1, 2, 3. So I think we have to work on step zero. It's obvious to me now. I don't know why it took so long. I don't know. Sometimes it does. But I think you've been right this whole time. Step zero is important.